Thank you for joining us this afternoon. And today's topic is going to be on education opportunities. Dr. Scott will share information on the great resources that you can find at Tri-C. So, Dr. Scott, the mic is yours.
Good afternoon, Anna, and good afternoon, CMHA staff, as well as our CMHA residents. It is my pleasure to be with you all this afternoon to talk about the Educational Opportunity Center, a TRIO-funded program by the U.S. Department of Education. My name is Dr. Elijah Scott, and I am the TRIO director, and it is ecstatic news to bring to you about how you can be a part of Cuyahoga Community College, where futures begin, or any other college of your choice. Just to give you a few moments about sharing with you about how we open the door to our future is by helping adults pursue post-secondary opportunities. Post-secondary opportunities include going into a workforce innovation program or going into a traditional route of an associate's degree program, starting with your general education elective courses. We also work with those residents of Cuyahoga County that actually need their general equivalency diploma, GED, or their adult diploma program status, which would give them an adult high school diploma, as well as a workforce certification for immediate employment. So we have what you need here at Tri-C. No matter what other institution you would like to attend, we can assist you to get there. It is so important as the climate of these times point to workforce innovation training, and it points to bettering yourself with self-sufficiency opportunities. The time is now. So I would hope that the staff encourage residents that are on the call, encourage other residents, because too many changes are coming that we are unaware of, and we need to be flexible. We need to be having ourselves attainable to getting education and to getting skills that are necessary in order for us to be productive citizens of our community. First, I want to bring to your attention that the Educational Opportunity Center helps adults set goals by providing essential information, academic advising, and program services to open the doors to exciting career opportunities. EOC services include career interest inventory, career information, financial aid and scholarship application help, college admissions information, one-year certificate program information, apprenticeship training information, and financial literacy counseling. All services are free to Cuyahoga County residents. We normally work with ages 19 and older, but if you or someone that you know is 17 or 18 years old, about to venture into college, about to venture into having an appropriate high school graduation and diploma, they need to talk to us so that we can help guide them through. Because there is the Nolan Scholarship that is awarded to Cuyahoga County residents. You want to be a part of that scholarship. Opportunity. That's free money to help you be successful in your career objectives. I want to always bring to your attention our phone number, which is 216-987-6305, because that's the number to unlock the key, or I guess the key to unlock the door. But that is the key, 216-987-6305, to make an appointment with me or one of my colleagues that works alongside me in the Educational Opportunity Center program. What we know is that some residents have already tried to take a stab at being a part of the college. Maybe younger years, maybe most recently, and then life happens. Yes, life happens. We've got to weave and bob, and we've got to be flexible because we don't know what could happen in our personal lives that prohibit us from obtaining a college education or finishing our classes. That is why I want to dedicate some of this time to talk about, if you have been to the Cuyahoga Community College before and did not pass courses and sort of had a challenge and maybe did not withdraw in a timely manner per semester, or maybe attempted 2 or 3 times in 2 or 3 consecutive semesters of taking classes and were unsuccessful, then the Satisfactory Academic Progress Appeal, SAP, is for you. So we want to talk about the SAP program. It's an appeal process that Educational Opportunity Center will be able to walk you through. SAP, Satisfactory Academic Progress Appeal. To be eligible for financial assistance and all other forms of federal financial aid funding, which is your Title IV, the student must meet satisfactory academic progress. These requirements must be met in order for the federal regulations to have a drawdown of money from the federal government for each student. So Tri-C is responsible to review the academic progress of students that receive financial aid. This includes student loans, the Pell Grant, the Ohio Instructional Grant, the Supplemental Education Opportunity Grant, SEOG, and all other grants and loans that are covered by the federal government that I have not mentioned. The review is done to determine if the student is making measurable progress towards completion of their program. That means a C 2.0 or better at the end of each semester. For example, if you have 4 courses and 3 of them are C, then if you pass all 4 with C's, that's a 2.0, and you're safe. You wouldn't need a satisfactory academic progress plan. But if you had 3 C's and an F, then you would be below the standard of 2.0. And then you will be placed on the initial academic probation, where you'll need support and guidance. But sometimes we don't get that. We just keep going on. And that means the student just keeps going on and going on to other classes and says, I didn't like that course anyway. You have to be very careful about that because of the fact that the school record, your report card, your transcript is steady recording and adding up your successes in your classes as well as your challenges, meeting below the standard requirements. This review is necessary to continue receiving financial aid. The satisfactory academic progress, SAP, is evaluated at the end of every semester at Tri-C. If you have a problem or a challenge, I would encourage you to contact your counselor, faculty at whatever campus that you are located where you're taking classes, or contact my office at 216-987-6305, and we will assist you. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the SAP requirements. For a student to continue to receive funding, the student must follow the guidelines outlined below. Complete 67% of all classes enrolled during any given semester. That means you're only allowed to withdraw from one class that semester. So remember, I gave you the example of 4 classes and you got C's in the other 3 classes, which would equal a 2.0, but you failed the 4th class. Well, you have an opportunity to be allowed to withdraw from that class within the time frame, which is important, which we'll deal with individually as we talk with you individually for Federal Education Rights and Privacy, FERPA, um, accommodations. But you withdraw before the deadline, and then you're safe. But be careful about withdrawing from courses because you can't pass them or got behind, because that will count against you later. You want to be very aware of the classes that you're taking and the level of commitment that you allocate to yourself for each class in the classroom as well as outside the classroom, to utilize the library and quiet spaces on campus and off campus, to do your homework and to do your reports. Um, if I didn't mention libraries, I'm sorry, but if I did mention it, good, because I want to mention it again. The library is always a great place for you and your children to go to have peace of mind and quiet. And then CMHA has the best computer labs that I have seen in the county. Utilize these. I have a brain freeze, and it's okay that I'm on camera being recorded. Utilize these opportunities and utilize these facilities. All right. Then you maintain a grade point average of 2.0 or higher each semester through your college career. Complete your degree within the 150% time frame. Associate degrees of 60 credits or more should be completed within 2 academic years. That means you're going to school 3 semesters. That means you're going at the end of August, the beginning of January, and the end of May. That would include being your fall semester starting in August your spring semester starting in January, your summer semester starting, I believe, the day after Memorial Day, or maybe the week before Memorial Day, depending on how uh, the day that Memorial Day is on each year. So that's your summer semester. So that means you go all year round. Yes, times have changed. We would rather for you to do 12 credit hours a semester, um, each semester, than to load up on 15 to 18 credit hours 2 semesters out of the year, which would be your fall and your spring and be off in the summer. Utilize all of your time, but you want to ultimately accurate, complete at the end of the third year of your full-time enrollment. So you can do this, but you have to follow the rules. That would be to ultimately, with accuracy, completion at the end of the third year of full-time enrollment with a 2.0 or better and as least amount of withdrawals in your program over that 3 semesters each year plan. Students who lose their financial aid for failing to maintain satisfactory academic progress may be eligible to appeal. First, you have to fill out an electronic SAP appeal form located in your student portal. This will automatically contact the Student Financial Aid and Scholarships Office, but you need to go ahead and contact them and say, hey, I submitted an appeal form and I would like to have a meeting. The phone number is available here on the screen, or with the email, financialaid@tri-c.edu or 216-987-6000. And then you'll talk to somebody. People talk to people. Sometimes you don't have that opportunity when you have someone, not someone, but you have the uh, computers and all they do is input information. But you'll have a person to actually talk with. Take the opportunity and talk to the person. Then you need to fill out a personal statement online. We will assist you with that. Um, I have help here today, so you all have to help me out. Anna, I'd like to find out, can you see the satisfactory academic progress appeal?
Yes, we can.
All right. So with this, with your personal statement outline, you want to explain what specifically happened. The more clearer your present circumstances, the better we will be able to evaluate your appeal. Be detailed and specific. Provide dates and timeframes. Be clear and concise. An example would be if it's this semester and you have, unfortunately, for the spring of 2025, withdrawn, um, and it's your max time of withdrawals within the within the year, then they would probably say, hey, you're going to have to do a SAP appeal, or you're going to have to pay for your classes on your own. Well, you provide the date and time frames of what happened. Okay, you had a you or your child had an illness. I don't want to say this, but let's just use something that would really uh, that would used to have worked from 2020 to 2023. It will be COVID. Now they want you. Now with COVID, they want you to get a immunization and then go to work or go back to school in 2 days. But nevertheless, I shouldn't even said that. So scratch that from the record. But the times are shorter. The times are shorter. It's 5 days or less when it used to be 10 days. But nevertheless, um, they want to know, well, when did you have COVID? When did your children have COVID? When did How did your household be uprooted? How did your illness affect your what dates did your illness affect when you couldn't come to school, or your child's illness affected when you couldn't come to school? Um, and how long did it last? Be clear and concise. With your problems and circumstances, if you had to move from one housing um, from one housing uh, estate to another, that is a problem. That is a circumstance. But transportation is not, because we give you passes, which means that you get a pass for the semester and you can catch the bus. So transportation would not be the issue. Um, Childcare. If you are in school and you have a caseworker for Medicaid for your children and food stamps for your children, then you would qualify for Title 21 or Title 20 for childcare. That probably would not be your best option. If your child has a special need, um, epilepsy, or that's just an example, epilepsy or development delayed, or have ADHD coupled with autism, and that there's constant, and he or she doesn't have an individual education plan, an IEP, um, and they're kicking your child out of school constantly. Um, yes, that's a documentable concern. While your child is being evaluated by medical professionals and provided a ETR, an evaluation team report um, assessment, those things take time, and that could interrupt 6 weeks out of 12 in the semester that your child could be at risk for being kicked out of school. Or should I say suspended? Now, I aged myself by telling you kicked out. So suspended or expelled. Those things are serious, and those things are documentable. If you had to take care of your mom or your dad and be a part of a process because they may be in hospice, or they may have had an accident, a fall, and you have to, you're committed to your parents. So you would have to help take care of them. That's documentable. You can get that from the hospital or the medical provider. Um, then explain what has changed. So the example that's clear would be where now my child has an IEP and my child is on proper medication. My child has aftercare services dealing with being in aftercare for autism, with autism support aftercare, or uh, developmental um, developmental disability support, with having a program specifically for that child. That's explained what changed, because you don't want to talk to anyone about uh, what the problem is or what the problem was, and then turn around and not have a change. Then the same thing would happen. If you want different outcomes, if you want different results, you change the behaviors, you change the circumstance. Um, then explain how you'll be successful. So that will help you with that by presenting a workout plan that is an actual presentation of what courses you plan to take for 3 semesters. Um, and that would be part of your strategy to succeed. And so what's clear is the documentation highly recommended. And then it tells you here, proof of daycare. Um, the proof of transportation, such as the car registration, would be a stretch, because they have transportation available for you. But you could make things work. So say for instance, you had to pick your children up from school and you can't do that on the bus or whatever. That's a stretch, telling you the truth. Obituaries, unfortunate obituaries, unfortunate funeral announcements or death certificates. Um, that's unfortunate, but those things actually are excellent supporting documentation for your struggle, for your challenges. Um, then your current lease agreement. We talked about homelessness or moving. Court documentation. What if you had to go to county jail because of a misunderstanding or city jail because of a misunderstanding? You were caught up with the wrong people at the wrong time in the wrong place. And then you had to miss 2 weeks because you had to wait for your court hearing, something like that. I don't know. And then police records, etc. If you were a victim of violence. All right, now I'm going to try. Now, look, so you have to be easy on me because my staff that does this isn't here. And I probably popped right on out. It says you are sharing. So this is the part where you are patient with me because usually I would have, how come this isn't working? This is going to make me join again. Let's look at share. Okay, stop sharing. Share. There. I think we're back. Anna, please confirm.
Yes.
Thank you. The following documentation must be uploaded. Then, what I had mentioned to you before, how we would assist you with an academic plan, that academic plan consists of the courses in your program that you'll take for the next 3 semesters. Then you'll include a copy of your degree works, which is your transcript, your active transcript. You'll find that in your My Tri C space, and we'll guide you to that. You include any additional documentation that supports your SAP appeal, um, such as a signed medical form. That is so important to do. You'll allow 10 business days for a decision to be made by the SAP appeal committee. You'll be notified by email or directly on the student portal on the final decision. If your appeal is approved, you'll be contacted by student financial aid officers to complete a year-long financial aid plan. If they give you when they give you an email or as you check your student portal or your My Tri C space on that final decision, don't wait for a student financial aid officer to contact you. Go up to the school and show them the email and then let them talk to you about your year-long financial aid plan. And then you'll refer to the SAP guidelines to best maintain your financial aid eligibility, which is nothing more than be careful of the classes that you take. Take the classes under guidance from a professional, your faculty, your counselor faculty advisor, or your trusted EOC staff, and get help. Get help in the tutoring center. Get help from your professor or your faculty member. Be a part of a study group. Um, talk to talk to somebody about your challenges. If your SAP is not approved, then you connect with the student financial aid advisor to discuss your next steps, which would be that you would have to pay for your classes on your own, and they would set up a payment plan. And you would just go from one class to another until you get off the um, status, until you get off the status and can get financial aid again. So if you fail 3 classes, they want you to pay for 3 classes. of that magnitude. If it's a 3 credit class, they want you to pay if it's three credit classes, they want you to pay for two 3 credit classes and 1 4 credit class, something like that. Whatever it amounts to. I'm not that great with math. That's why I'm not in math. I'm not in statistics. But surely you'll be able to get through. There are helpful resources that are in the My Tri-C space, your financial aid workshops on campus. The medical documentation is on your uh, My Tree, within your My Tri-C space, and one of the cards that are on your My Tree space page. And then the Tri-C SAP appeal process is also available in my Tri-C space and on the Tri-C website. I'd like to open it up now for comments, questions, and scenarios.
We have some questions in the chat. So the first one is, can you speak about the CMHA scholarship?
Yes. Um, what I remember, and what I remember clearly, it's I I want to say John P. Nolan, but I know it's the Nolan Scholarship. I'm going to look it up as we speak now. Um, I'm going to look it up for you. The Nolan Scholarship. That scholarship was has money in it. CMHA. It's a CMHA resident scholarship, and those that have the actual information about it a college, after you become registered with the college. And I'm looking this up now. After you become registered with the college, you will be able to um, apply for and register for the um, the Nolan Scholarship. I thought I had it. It's just another CMHA presentation. Um, but yes, so once you get to that step, then you'll be given guidance because you have to apply for it through the financial aid department. But the money is there.
Okay. The next question is, what support services are available to students through TRIO?
What support services are available to students through TRIO? As I stated before, um, our specific services, ELC TRIO, and I love reading it directly, is the career interest inventory, the career information, the financial aid and scholarship application help, college admissions information, 1 year certificate program information, apprenticeship training information, financial literacy counseling, and we assist you with applying for specific scholarships to get you in. So after you're in the college, then there are other TRIO programs that help you. So when you say, um, what are the EOC resources? Not EOC, what the TRIO resources? There are 6 TRIO programs at the college. I can only, it, with an expert eye, tell you about EOC. The other programs that are TRIO programs are either um, programs for your children, which is Upward Bound Education Talent Search, um, and possibly the Upward Bound Math and Science program, which is no longer in our area that I would have information with, but the middle school and high school. would have that information. And then there are student support services that you could actually connect to after you get enrolled. Those TRIO programs are available to you once you become a student. I hope I've
Uh,
answered your question.
yes. The next question is, are tutoring services available?
Yes, each campus has tutoring services, and each campus has tutoring services. They have a tutor program, and they're very good. They're very successful, and it's students that are very that perform very well in English, math, social studies, and science,
Okay,
and it's free. And then, of course, if you're a part of a trio student support services program, once you become a student, then they're they have their own tutoring program,
that's
tutoring
great.
staff.
Those are great services. Regarding the appeals, how many can be submitted?
That's a hard question to answer because uh, if that's interesting. So no, I get it now. If you've had multiple times that you've been in school throughout the years, multiple semesters, more than two, more than three semesters, um, they're only going to ask you about the last semester. So you only need to file one appeal. It's one appeal per person. But they'll look at the reason why you have to upload your degree works um, program is because of the fact that, which is your transcript, is because they'll look at the actual history of your challenges as well as your successful completions of courses. That was a good trick question. Without it being a trick, because it's really serious. It's a good question,
Yeah, it was.
but they didn't catch me. They didn't catch me
No,
slipping.
no,
Oh,
no, we
that
can't.
was fun.
Um,
That was
the
fun.
next question is, are these classes free?
It all depends. Um, and that's a good question because if you get into um, specific workforce, a specific workforce program, they're they have the option and availability to sidestep any money you owe to the college, um, and any challenges you've had with the college, because it's an outside scholarship that is a federal funded program through Ohio Means Jobs and the WIOA program, which is the Workforce Innovation Opportunity WIOA Workforce Innovation Opportunity um, grant that funds uh, workforce programs. I forgot WIOA. That's a lot to go. That's a lot to say. That's be fun. Look it up. WIOA. We owe. Yeah, but that's what it is. And it's
The next question, are there any scholarships for being first generation college students?
well, the answer is yes, with the present Nolan scholarship that is specifically geared towards CMHA residents. That's the first thing. The second is there is a portion of money set aside for in the interest of uh, first generation students, but that means you just get a little bit more money than others that you wouldn't probably notice one way or the other in your Pell Grant. but they do ask a specific question, are you first generation? And then after you get and acquire a grade point average, there are other programs that will ask if you're a first generation and then what is your GPA. If it's 2.75 or above, then they have specific grants for that. It's not up in the beginning. The only one in the beginning is the Pell Grant, or yeah, which is the Pell Grant.
Okay. These questions, so part of the question you already answered. How can a resident of CMHA apply for this scholarship? And you just mentioned you need to be enrolled in the college. So the next part of the question is the resident required to provide documentation verifying that they are a CMHA resident? Or do we have to send, CMHA will have to send like a verification that they are indeed a CMHA resident?
Well, your address would would clearly your address and your ID would clearly confirm that you're a CMHA resident. But for the P. Nolan scholarship, um, and if any one of your staff know the full scholarship name, that would help me. If they don't mind, if they don't mind unmuting and saying what the specific scholarship, the total name, because we've given it out a couple times, but my staff isn't with me who would have just looked it up while we're talking. So I'm doing like double work here. So if they know, I would appreciate it,
All right. So,
But yeah, so yeah. And CMHA, your case managers, and your community resident managers. I don't know what the community center managers would be more than happy to send a certified, not certified, but a on letterhead documentation that you are CMHA, a proud CMHA resident, or they're proud to have you as a resident.
the next question is Tri-Cities Woman in Transition program still available?
It is fantastically still available. Next week, we're going to, the college is going to um, uh, unveil the new, mm, mm, yes, I'm going to stop all of that and just say yes.
Okay, and I found the information on the website about the scholarship. I just put in the chat and we will send it out.
Okay, what's the name?
Um, it is Dr. Nolan M. Ellison
Oh,
Endowed Scholarship.
okay, Nolan Ellis. Ellison? Nolan
Ellison.
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 I don't know where the John P. Nolan came from. It's the Dr. Nolan Ellison Scholarship.
Yes.
How
So
interesting.
I found it. I found your website, so I just put it in there.
Oh, goodness, it's on our website. I couldn't find it. That's why I've got staff to assist me.
Okay. So
They do the heavy lifting.
the next question is asking how much
How
is
much what?
like this scholarship is for the residents. How much
Oh,
money is allocated for it?
it is it is uh case by case basis.
Okay.
You already qualify because you're a resident.
Mhm.
So that means you're already qualified with income. And it goes by case basis. It's not a blanket
Okay.
scholarship.
All right. The next part of the question is, are there set classes you can only take?
Are there set classes you can only take? I need to speak to that person with everybody if they want to elaborate on that question. That's a good question. That's an open-ended question. And I want
Um,
to go in a way where they can just talk.
okay. Miss Octavia, will you mind to unmute yourself if you want to elaborate on your question, please?
Hi, good afternoon.
Good
I
afternoon.
I asked that question because I know it's a program and I know um, it's set finances and stuff like that. So in some cases, they offer, I've been in programs where they may have offered these type of things, but they were only confined in certain set classes that you can only take. So I just wanted to know, was the classes limited, on what you can take? Is it open? You can just enroll for anything, or is it just limited in a certain, amount of, what fields are open? If that
I,
makes sense. If
I,
that makes sense.
yes, it does, because some scholarships are specifically for community based or human
Yeah.
services. Some scholarships are based for science and medical. So I understand what you're talking about. Um, the no listing scholarship, I really doubt if they have. When we read it, it didn't seem like you had to go into a specific area. They just wanted you that if you live in HUD housing, they just wanted you to go to college and get a degree. So in the scholarships of WIOA, workforce innovation, the workforce innovation opportunities. One of your staff look that up for me. WA, workforce. It's a workforce initiative program. You'd have to take a specific uh, uh, 6 to, well, it really could be 4 to 16 week course. And then we've got this new course, when I say course, training,
Mhm.
4 to 16 week training. Um, and we've got one that's like 16 weeks to 18 weeks, called the
Mhm.
utility technician training program.
Mhm.
So yes, so we've got fiber optics technician. So that scholarship is mainly for just if you want to do tech IT work um, with companies that deal with the fiber optics.
Mhm.
Um, utility technician training, STNA training, community health worker training. Those
Mhm.
scholarships are specific for that. And so I understand what you're talking about. What are you interested in? And maybe I can help.
Well, I'm not sure as of yet, but the next question that it leads me to, I have some degrees already, and I've done Tri-C. So I was that was one of my questions that I was going to put in the chat. Would if you have already, can are you eligible for this program if you already have degrees?
How
So
many
that's what
degrees do
that.
you have?
I don't want to. I guess I can say I've entered my degrees. I have went all the way up to a doctorate.
Okay, well, baby, you need a job. You don't need no more training, baby. You need a
No, no,
job.
no.
I'm
I
just
did.
playing.
I did. No, serious. No, I did have a job. I had my first degree in Tri-C was early childhood education, and I did that. I was early childhood education. I just only been out of work for about 5 years since my husband passed. I had to come off of working because I had to take care of my husband, and he was
Sure,
sick. Only
sure.
been out of work only about 5 years. So
So I have an answer for you. Um,
right.
the Carl Perkins programs
Mhm.
are there's the Carl Perkins program at Tri-C,
Mhm.
and there's a Carl Perkins program at Cleveland State University
Mhm.
at Case Western,
Mhm.
where they would invite you to be a part of their team. Also, the scholarships that you would be qualified for, which would
Mhm.
not be the traditional scholarships of others or grants from others, you would qualify for an assistantship or
Mhm.
for a, um, I got the assistantship. Um,
Okay.
the other one is a teacher fellow, a
Mhm.
fellowship, and a graduate assistantship, and they would welcome you with open arms. and they would pay for your education that way. And listen, don't be concerned about you having a PhD. Wear that with a badge of honor because life happens and challenges happen. And I'm
Yeah.
sorry that you told us about. I just was curious when you said degrees. I was like, well, wait a minute, what you doing?
No, it only
But
been
you
yeah,
know
it's
what?
only been about yeah, it's only been a minute. I had to
It
take care
doesn't
of my
matter.
husband.
It doesn't matter. But but I want to commend you for that, and it's all good. And nobody's going to come after you because you're a resident. This is not what this for. This is a safe space. This is a safe
Hmm.
space, and you needed to know. But the Carl Perkins Scholarship and
Hmm.
graduate assistantships, and fellowships, teaching fellowships would be your goal. And if you want more education, go for it.
Hmm.
But our program, Education Opportunity Center, would not help. But the TRIO program, Carl Perkins program, TRIO,
Hmm.
that's the TRIO program. It would help you, um, not necessarily on the college level, unless you're specifically going for a certification.
Okay.
And if you're going for a certification,
Hmm.
then the WIOA, Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act. That's what it's called, Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act.
Hmm.
That the WIOA through Ohio Means Jobs would consider you as a um, I don't want to say displaced homemaker.
Hmm.
I don't want to say that, but that's the nearest thing I can think of.
I
But
understand what you're
but
saying.
but you're in transition. Like a
Hmm.
woman in transition, and that name's going to be changed probably. I don't know. That's not my business. But
Uh-huh.
whatever it is, however it is, you you are like in between. So
I
therefore,
received that.
you
I want to say I
qualify.
received that, but go ahead on. Finish saying what you're saying.
Well, you said you don't receive that you're in
No,
between.
I said I received what you just said, but go ahead on and finish saying what you're saying. I caught it.
Okay, great. No, I'm fine then. Just thank you for sharing.
Okay. How can I find this information that you just told me so I can look it up? And are you going to send it out in an email, or how do I? Well, everything that you told me, how do I get a hold of this information to look up what you just said?
Okay, well, you would start with um, looking at the trio. Look at U.S. Department of Education. Good luck with that. I don't know what's going on with U.S. Department of Education right now.
Are they
Um,
dismantling it right now? I just
yes,
saw the news. They
50%
just laid off the
yesterday.
teachers. Yeah.
Yeah, yesterday, 50% of his employees total
Yeah.
got got a letter, unfortunately. So
Mm.
you would look up Carl Perkins grant, and then you would go to each individual university and talk about assistantships and grad assistantships and graduate fellowships.
Okay, you said grant assistantship and grad.
Graduate assistantships and
Uh-huh.
teaching fellowships.
Okay, and I'm writing it down. That's why I was asking you.
That's not a problem. You haven't said or done anything wrong.
Teacher fellowship, graduate teacher
Yeah, it's a
fellowship.
fellowship. It's a fellowship. It's called fellowship. And if they're not called that anymore, you call that 216-987-6305 and say, Dr. Scott, they don't call it that anymore. You've been out of touch. But yeah, Case Western Reserve and University, Case Western Reserve and Cleveland State University would welcome you. Anna, we've got time for a couple more.
One more question from Tony Viola. What do you suggest for people who are looking for job training courses?
I would suggest that they call 216-987-6305 and let us help you and ask for Dr. Scott and let us help you to guide you and to personalize your successful experience in pursuing uh, your training.
Great. So I did put your information in the chat box, and any of the residents that may have different, questions or more one-on-one, please give us a call, reach out to any of the case managers are your properties, and we will be more than happy to make the connection to Dr. Scott. Dr. Scott, as always, thank you so very much for your time, great presentation. You are part of CMHA now, so we truly appreciate your knowledge and spending this day with us, especially that you are on your spring break. So thank you so much. I'm going to start the recording right now.